Hi, everyone, and welcome to Inside AWAI. My name is Rebecca Matter, and I am joined by our Learning Chief, Pam Foster. Hi, Pam.
Hi there. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
We are super excited for this session, mainly because we hear this phrase a lot, I'm just a writer. And the word just has been coming up. It's funny because even in our team this week, we hear this word, just, I'm just. And it's so interesting to me as a business owner and as a marketer. I know that a writer is not just a writer. I know that the writer is oftentimes the highest paid member of the team. And so it's interesting when we think about that, we put that mindset, I'm just a writer, what that can do for us. And so Pam and I were thinking about it, and we thought, well, you know what we could do is force a mindset by, instead of just focusing on just the writer, we could talk about roles that immediately force you into what's considered a consultant role, which immediately increases the value. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that wherever you are in this journey, that you wipe away the idea of just a writer. You as a writer drive commerce. You as a writer are the one who determines whether a company can succeed or fail. Can they find new prospective customers? Can they turn those prospects into buyers? Can they keep those buyers satisfied? It's not just about the product or solution that they're buying. It's all the other stuff. And these days, all the other stuff is huge. And it's actually opened up even more consultant style roles or strategist roles or whatever phrase you feel is more valuable because there's so much stuff. Whenever there's a lot of stuff, there's always a need for someone to come in and strategize the stuff or organize the stuff. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how to put you in that consultant chair to help companies even grasp all the stuff, all the opportunities out there to market. These days, there are dozens of marketing channels that companies can move into. There are more people online buying stuff than ever before in the history of mankind. You are just the writer to help them take advantage of it and get it going. So Pam, are you ready to jump into today's session?
I am.
Oops. Excellent.
There we go.
Let's dive in. So you probably already know who we are. If not, I'm the one obviously on the left. I think if we're I'm Rebecca. I'm the president of AWAI. AWAI has been around for over 24 years now, training just writers and consultants and strategists. And I am joined by Pam Foster, who is our learning chief. She was at one time a member just like you or a writer just like you, wondering, could I actually make a living as a writer? She crossed over, founded AWAI, and became a successful writer. So successful in her role that we went after her and said, hey, why don't you cross back in and help future writers follow in your footsteps? And so she came on board to help us really flesh out our training and our experience for our members, and we are grateful to have her here.
Oh, thank you. I am grateful that you guys are here. Okay.
No, I love you more. No. So our goals for today is really getting you in this mindset of this consultative copywriter, not just a writer who's doing the work, but rather pulling up a step and looking at and planning out strategy and getting paid for that strategy. So what are the writer roles that kind of force you into or give you the opportunity to be that strategist? We're going to go over 4 very specific ways to pursue this. There are many others. And really, anytime you have a clump of stuff, a clump of copy, a clump of projects, a thing, all stuff, you have the ability to create a consultative or strategic role overseeing that thing. And so by giving you the 4 examples, we're going to kind of show you how that works. We'll give you some resources to start now, both through training as well as just additional resources to learn about these opportunities. So content on our website. We'll give you some tips before we close out, how to lock in lasting relationships. One of the best things about becoming a consultant, consultative copywriter, or a strategist, whatever phrase you love the best, is that you really are seen as a partner in everything. It's never a, well, there you go, there's your strategy. See you later. Right? You become part of the team. And so kind of how can you set yourself up so that you're seen as that from the beginning, not a one and done, here you go, but rather, I'm here. I am your rainmaker, and I'm going to create this awesome opportunity for you, client, to get into these channels and make money using the opportunities that we're going to present today. And then we'll open up for Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them if you're here with us live, and we will answer them at the end of our session.
Right.
All righty, let's jump in. So you, the well-paid consultative copywriter. And why we have that slide is, in general, even though I know as a business owner who trains and hires writers, and I know as a marketer who hires and trains copywriters are oftentimes the highest on the pay grade. Like they make the most money simply because they really are driving the sales that are happening in the business, on the content, on the copy side. It doesn't matter. You're still part of that sales process. But many writers, when they join us, they have issues with that. They have issues understanding. I hear more of, they want to pay me this much money to do this thing. I don't know if I'm worthy of that. I don't know if I'm trained up to, but that's the cost of the job. That's what the job function pays. So when we flip that around and say, well, what if we called you a strategist? What if we called you a consultant? Now, do you think you're worthy of these fees? Sometimes that little bit of a mind shift can change. But if you understand strategy and you understand the intention behind the copy, why the copy is being written, it automatically kind of elevates you anyways and puts you in this position to have these conversations so that the perception on the other side with the client is, oh, this is not a laborer or a writer, but rather the architect or the strategist. And that's what we're going to talk about in this session today. So the key to elevating your value to that consultative level is to go from the writer to the partner. I just mentioned this. If you just think about the building of a house, there's a lot of people who are very skilled in their one solid task, right? The person who might install the cabinets, the plumbing, the wiring in the walls, but people who understand weight-bearing walls and things like that. Then there's the architect. The architect actually builds the plan so that all the laborers can come and see where their part is and do their job. Because copy and content has blown out so much and there are so many opportunities, it's created a problem. It's created a need for an architect because there are so many writers now running around doing all these things. Someone kind of needs to give them like, here's the plan, here's the focus, here's where we're going with this, here's the house that we're trying to build with all this stuff. And so it's created a demand for and an opportunity for you to step in and create that strategy. By doing this, you're moving from that writer, from the laborer to the partner of the company. You get to dig deeper into their business. So by doing that, by learning their business, you now become more valuable simply because everything that you write becomes more effective. Everything that you plan, you really understand the business. You easily provide guidance and strategy. So again, your value is higher. You're now a partner. I'm coming to Pam saying, what do you think I should do about this thing? She's coming to me saying, hey, Rebecca, I've been looking at this thing that you're doing. Here's what I love about it. Here's what I think we should do differently and make it even more effective. That's just different, right? Than saying, I want to write this for you. I got an idea for how we can really blow out this blog. I have an idea for how we can get more engagement on social media. That's more of that mindset. You're providing guidance and strategy. Makes things easier for the client. I manufacture widgets. I am a dentist. I manufacture infant safety supply stuff. That's my job. That's my role. I don't have to worry about the stuff. I've got you. I've got Pam on the other side. I just go to Pam and say, we good on the copy and the content? Awesome. Great. And everything is happening over there because that's what the consultant does. That's what the writers do. I don't do that. I know I'm super passionate about drilling teeth as a dentist or fixing people's backs or tending to dogs. And every time that I'm not doing those things, I'm potentially losing money as the business owner. I need to be able to rely on someone else to make sure that I have clients to service, that I have people to buy my products and services. You deliver much better results because you know the business. You've taken the time to really understand what the goals are and who they're trying to get in the seats and who they're trying to get to buy their products. So when you do turn around to write, your copy is way more effective. And everything that you're doing, that your writers are doing, or the people working for the company are doing, is more effective because they have a guiding light. They have an understanding of, this is the goal. This is what we're trying to accomplish. This is our messaging. These are our beliefs, our benefits, the things that we're going after. Now all the copy and content has that same focus. That's what the role of the consultant is. So all of the results, we all get to celebrate. All of our copy and our content becomes better thanks to you. And you become indispensable. And that's the long game. Once you get in and are seen as that partner who is driving results, who's making everyone's job easier, from the business owner to the writers to the marketers, everybody loves the consultant. And I'm thinking of some of the consultants who work for us right now. You make our jobs easier because you have a handle and get everybody focused and moving forward on the same page. That is incredibly valuable. And that's where you set yourself up for a very easy life as a writer, because they don't want to lose you. They want to keep you as part of the team. I've worked with some people for over 15 years now in my role here at AWAI, who I hired on to manage things back in the day, who are still working for me now. And I know many writers who have found clients at places where we have an annual boot camp, through our job fair, through our job board. 10 years later, same client, doing the same work for that same client. Pam, you have some long-term clients like that, right? That you've been working on for a long time?
Yes. For example, my account has I have an echo. Can you hear an echo?
Just barely.
Okay. I started doing his newsletter 25 years ago, just my local accountant. And then they were going to update their website. They have no idea how anything works. They are financial geniuses, but they don't even know what a web page is. So again, they turn to me. Can you help me with the content on my website? And then other stuff they're doing. So it's almost a natural flow. You don't even have to push at this. Once you have your foot in the door with a client, they're going to naturally ask you, what about this? What about that? We're not experts at what's happening in social media now. Can you help us? And we're not, experts at writing emails that actually get opened. Can you help us? So that's what's so cool, is it's this natural progression. So you don't have to, pull your hair out worrying how to add on with clients. It often just happens naturally once you've proven yourself. So we're going to jump into 4 different ways to pursue this. And I'm going to have Rebecca just talk about how we picked those 4 ways, and then I'll start diving into some of the specifics.
And just think about that, guys, 25 years. Whoever says that freelance writers don't have consistent income, if you have a client, how many of you have had a job for 25 years with the exact same company? It's crazy, right? It's a little bit of a mindset shift that people just don't think of when they think about freelance writing, that you can still have that consistency. You can still have the 30-year career working for a company. It just might be 3, so that you can make, bigger opportunity for yourself and have the flexibility if and when you fall into a situation where you don't like the company or the client or the boss, or you get to just walk away because it's not your long-term career. You're not stuck with a company like you might be in a regular job. So 25 years, amazing. So how do we pick these opportunities that we're going to introduce you to? Each one of them stems from your copywriting knowledge. If you're brand new to this world and you're like, I don't have any copywriting knowledge, don't worry about that. AWAI is here. We have basic programs that get you in and get you moving with that foundation, but this is where you're going. And so even if you're brand new, I want you to sit back and absorb this information. I want you to see the opportunity. A lot of times you come into this world with a perception of what it is, and what it is actually way bigger than what you think it might be. So even if you're brand new and you're like, this is a lot, that's okay. You need to know what the opportunity is and how big it is in front of you. So just absorb as much as possible. But all these ideas stem from that foundation, that core foundation in persuasion, and understanding that all words, all pieces of copy and content serve a purpose on this journey of finding a new prospect, getting them to know, like, and trust your clients, moving them along the customer journey, moving them to purchase, keeping them happy in the long run so they stay and continue on with your potential client. Dozens, hundreds of pieces of copy and content in that journey. So it all stems from this foundation of all of the stuff. How do we get it organized and make sure that it's being effective? Each of these opportunities is critical for a client's ongoing success. We picked paths that every client needs to be aware of. So any one of these 4 can get you in the door with any client, because they should be doing this stuff. Each of these opportunities removes a huge burden for the client. I'll just go ahead and spoil. One of them might be social media. I know as a client that I need to be in social media. You know what I don't want to do? Be in social media. I want to go tend to my puppies who are in my waiting room as a veterinarian, right? That is like overwhelming to me. So you're removing the burden of the marketing stuff. And then finally set the stage for major improvements, results. When you come in, you are the rainmaker. You allow the veterinarian to release the fear of the butts not being in the chairs of patients to be seeing behind in the examination rooms, like mixing all of my analogies, in the waiting room, in the examination room, because that's what we do. People don't think like we're the rainmakers. The writers are the ones who bring the prospects, who bring the buyers, who keep them happy. So you remove that major burden and set them up for success, that they can do what they love, what they do best, and everything will be better for it. All right, Pam, take it away with our first opportunity.
All right, here it comes. Oops. Sorry, I'm between chatting, answers to Q&A, and doing this. Okay, so the first one is called Site Content Audits. And this may be an unfamiliar term for you, or you may think it may mean technical audits, which is something that's a whole different skill set for programmers and people like that. What a site content audit is before I explain detail what it is, it's beyond writing the copy. So you're not just writing web pages for a client, you're actually analyzing the website to see how their content is working now, find gaps, like what's missing, a headline explaining what you do, and you'll look for opportunities to improve the member experience on the website so that they can find what they need at a glance, see why the website company is different or better than anything else they've seen out there, and quickly get an invitation to try something or sign up for something, so that they're really engaged. They're like, oh, I finally found the right place for me. And that will transform a website's potential. It's beyond just the copy. It's how the copy feels and how quickly and clearly it makes an impact with the visitor. So you're going to have a checklist where you go through, like Midas Muffler, 21-point checklist for a car. When you bring your car in and they have an oil tune-up and they check the batteries and the fluids and the windshield wipers and all that stuff, you're going to have a list like that for websites. What's working? Is there a clear headline? Is the copy talking to the visitor? Is the call to action, like, sign up for a discount or try our free demo, is that really clear right up front? You would not believe how many websites, even today, aren't clear. And you probably see this yourself when you go to websites. So you are going to become an expert at why that's happening, what's missing, what can be fixed with the content, and then you'll report on that. So you do your checklist, you do your audit, and then you go and put a report together, like a 10-page report, and you are consulting to the website owner, the client, on what could be fixed, what they're missing, what the best practices are out there, even what their competition is doing that is better than what the client's doing, and how you're going to fix it. Okay, so it's actually so valuable, and I've used that when I was first freelancing. I had a client, for example, that I was doing a newsletter for, and then I realized their website is really, really confusing. And I said to them, can I do an audit for you guys and really dig into what's happening here? And then I'll give you a report. And they were like, sure, because we don't know, we put this together. We don't have writers on staff. We just did our best effort. The web person did it. They're not professional writers. So it showed. And you'll find this with a lot of clients you're working with. Like, I don't even know, like if it's a local business, I can't tell where you are at a glance because you don't have your location on page 1 or at the top, especially on the mobile device. No idea where you are. That's not good. So when you're doing an audit like this, you're pointing out those gaps. And it's, again, beyond the content writing, it's a bigger global thing you're doing that's helping them step up their game and beat out the competition by having the best darn site out there. So the fees are pretty great on this because, again, it's a consulting report that is going to affect every page of their site. So you can easily charge, maybe when you're starting out $1,000 for an audit, but then you can quickly move up to charging $1,500, $2,000, maybe even more per audit. It takes you roughly about 10 hours at first to go through that checklist and check some pages on the site and really hone in on what is happening and what's missing. And then to write the report, that's all part of that 10 hours, give or take. You don't want to bombard them with this endless report of tons of information. You just want to show the hot points of what's missing and what could be fixed. So roughly a 10-page report. And then you walk them through it as a consultant. Okay, here's what I found. You're missing a clear headline. You don't have your location on there, which is death to local businesses. There's no reason that it is obvious to the visitor why you're the best choice in that category. You need to add that kind of content. You need to add some sort of invitation or call to action to engage or read more or stick around. You need to make it clear what to do next, how to buy. It's just like mind-blowing to me that most companies do not know this about their websites. So the opportunity is infinite, really. And then the beauty of this consultative approach is that once you present the report and go through your findings, of course, they're going to say, well, how do we actually get the content fixed? How do we write it so it's better? I can help you with that, because you're a writer who understands what works. You've just proven to them that you know what works. So it's very likely that the content will need help, like most websites do these days. So you can then put together a proposal to go ahead and fix everything. So basically, if you're optimizing web pages, it's 500 to 600 a page. If there are lots of pages to fix and the client starts freaking out, you can just say, well, let's pace it over the next year. I can do 6 pages a month for the rest of the year, or whatever your top most important pages are, like home, about us, services, that kind of thing. Let's start there and then add the specific product pages one by one. And then, as I've had with clients, eventually they want to do a total redesign, get on a modern platform, be more mobile friendly. So then who's going to work with the team to make that better? You are. Ka-ching, ka-ching, another opportunity to make more money with the client. And then, of course, there are add-ons. So once the website is looking better and feeling better, how are those blog posts looking? How about your emails? Do you have something cool you can add to your website, like a video? Who's going to write the video script? So it's just this endless pipeline of awesomeness once you do that initial audit. And I've seen it over and over and over again in my own freelance business, but also people who are learning how to do these audits are reporting back to me that, well, I did the audit and now they've locked me in for a year to do not just the copy updates, but some blog posts and other pieces that we're going to add. So to me, it's like the most beautiful thing and a great way to get in the door. So let's see now. I got a few more things to say. They're easy to do. So I have created a checklist, like the Midas Muffler checklist, like I said. It's got 21 clues on what the best practices are out there. And we follow amazing thought leaders in web content that works, like Norman Nielsen Group and Bruce Clay and SEM Rush and Rand Fiskin. These people that's all they do 24/7 is study what's working and what's not on websites. And then I just follow what they're doing and go, oh, right, that's a good new thing to know. But a lot of it is stuff has never changed in some capacity. Like, people are still people going online to find a solution. That has never changed. It might look different now on their phones or whatever, but they still are just trying to find a great solution, solve a need, or find the perfect, wedding planner or whatever it is. And so many websites are missing that. It's just shocking to me, but it means, you have a great opportunity. So you'll go through the checklist, example here, write the report. We've got templates for that. And then show and tell. So you'll want to take some screenshots of what's working and what's not, what competition is doing, what the best practices are doing. So your client is completely like, oh, wow. Yeah, I can see that my competition is doing a much better job of being local, focusing on local stuff, just for example. And then again, you propose to write and fix those gaps on the pages that are troublesome. So superhero, double dip, all that good stuff happens. And so to explain more about how this all works, we've got some articles on AWAI. Get paid twice when you do site audits for clients, and then a handy site audit checklist for SEO, search engine optimization, and content writing that works, and then how that leads to more projects. We also have a program that I created, and we update it annually, Site Audits Made Simple, and it walks you through that checklist and how to write a report, how to talk to clients, all that good stuff, and then how to then propose the next steps. There are like 50 or more projects you could then propose to do once you update the content and go to town. So those are now, okay, those are our ongoing resources.
I just wanted to mention what I love about the site audit thing is when it's like they say shooting fish in a barrel. Like imagine going to any company and say, I can actually make your website work better for you. I can tell you why it's not doing what you want it to do. No, thank you. Please don't tell me that. Okay. I love that opportunity so much. I also want to point out something that Pam said about most websites do need help. That's the reality for really anything. If you can find an email, a sales page, social media, a blog, a website, anything that cannot be improved, send it to me. Show me the perfection. Unless it's something like masterclass. But you know what? I bet you could still even come up with something that can be improved on that beautiful, functioning, effective website. Because the reality of copy and content is the minute you finish it and you walk away for 24 to 48 hours, you always can make it better. I can work on copy for the next 2 weeks, or I can write it in the next day. It doesn't matter. I can always make it stronger. I've never seen anything. Whenever I review things that we mailed last month or next, I'm always like, I would totally change something. That's the cool thing about this game is that you basically put yourself in a situation where you're always in demand, because the minute you finish a job, it just starts all over again and you can always make things more effective. I also wanted to point out something that you said, Pam, about site audits are also done by technical people, the technical term of site audit. As you were talking, I was like, well, let's think about that for a second. Site auditor is a technical role. There's a site audit specialist who writes for the technical person. The same goes with user experience. There is a user experience developer, a user experience designer,
right,
and a copywriter who then writes the copy for all the stuff. There's a video production specialist, someone who produces video. They don't write the script. There's a writer. There's a web developer. They don't write the content. There's a chatbot builder. They don't write the content. I'm like, oh my gosh, you could just chase all of the hottest technical jobs and attach yourself as a writer in that space. But I digress. That's a whole different aspect of this. But as you were talking, I'm like, this is why writers are in such high demand. I met a chat bot the other day on the computer and I was like, this is the worst experience I've ever been. Did it functionally work? Sure. And the developer behind it did a great job making it functional. The copy sucked. And by the end of it, I was no better off than when I started, other than having wasted my time not getting an answer. So I think this is what we need to open our minds to, is that the words matter. Without us, nothing. You can build something really cool and functionally pretty, but if the words aren't there, it doesn't matter, right? Which brings us to content. I can build a website. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to pick up on the alliance thing where you align yourself with the experts who do the technical side.
Yes.
I have been brought in by web companies to be the writer because they don't do the writing, and they can do a beautiful design and functionality and programming and all that stuff, the right platform. But then they go, all right, who's going to give us the copy? And the client is like, well, I don't know how to write any of that. Here's some stuff. Or they can bring in someone like me who works with the team. And if you do an audit, then that's a beautiful sort of roadmap to discuss with the web development group. Because they're like, oh yeah, we were putting this big, huge graphic at the top, but now I see when you look at the phone, there's no copy. So can you help us write the copy? I'm like, heck yeah, let's do this together. Together. So it's nice to, team up with web developers and graphic designers and others who don't write the copy. So
absolutely. Anyway. All right, well, let's dig into content. So in this opportunity, how this elevates you. Okay, so most people, when they think about content, so we're clarifying what content is, things like articles, blogs, it could be social media posts, it could be videos, it could be newsletters, any form of content, things that you read to get information on a specific topic, to get an answer to your question. It's persuasive in nature, and this is a misunderstanding of copy versus content. People think content doesn't sell and copy does. But if you've been around AWAI for a while, or if you train with us, you'll see that content, and the reason why content writers trained by AWAI are paid so much more and expect to be paid so much more, is that they understand their place in that copy content continuum, that journey that a prospect to buyer is going on. Copy serves a major purpose. I remember when I first met copy blogger, and Brian Clark, who's one of the leading leaders in the content marketing space, he would say content's job is to get the buyer 80% of the way there, 80% of the way there, so that the sales letter can do its job of closing them. If you just think about that, if it's an 80-20 and the content is 80% of the game, that's a big, big intention, right? There's a lot happening with the content to prepare. The copywriter's job is actually much easier if the content writer did their job properly. So you're not, when we talk about you're not just writing the blog post. You're not being handed assignments. You're actually saying, okay, company, what is the intention of our content? What is the journey that we're taking them on? Because I, as a writer, understand that it's not just a blog post. It's not just a newsletter or just an article. It is one piece in a massive campaign of stuff and conversations that are happening to move us closer and closer and closer to the day that you actually sell this person. And the more expensive the product, the more expensive the solution. You talk about like business to business, people who are selling $1 million solutions, that can take a year of copy and content, right? That's a big lot of conversations to get all the way to purchase. So there's a lot in this bucket when we talk about content. But you're creating that strategy that's bringing in more traffic, right? Bringing in people, eyeballs into the company to know that they have a solution, generating leads. I'm interested in learning what you have to tell me, company, client, ABC, and ultimately moving them to sales. So that's the content marketing strategy. So what does that actually look like? I need like a clicker. So what you provide, overall content plan. So we just talked about this. It could be blog posts, it could be videos, it could be newsletters, but your job is to say, what is our intention? Who are we talking to? What problems are they having? What questions are they asking? How can we build editorial content that meets them where they are at this point? And it could be multiple prospects at multiple places. It could be the brand new soon to be mom. Let's talk about selling infant safety products. Are we talking to a pregnant person who's about to have a baby? Are we talking to a person who just had a baby and is exhausted and terrified? Are we talking to a person who's got a couple weeks in past the honeymoon period and is feeling a little bit like I might be able to keep this baby alive, but I sure would like some products that make it easier for me, right? The prospects are changing, who we're talking to, where they are in the process. Everything is different. Understanding that is your job. And I'm making it sound super complicated and sexy, but it really, when you just think about it, it's just, I have an infant safety product that makes a mom's job way less scary, a new mom. So I want to figure out, what are the things, what are the problems and the questions and the things, the feelings that she's having, and how can I write content to help her feel more safe and secure in this raising of a brand new infant? All that is done through copy and content. And as a strategist, what we're providing is the editorial calendar. We're creating this beautiful strategy. This is our intention, team of writers. We are selling this product to sell that solution for that problem that this new mom is having. Here's how we're going to do it. Okay. We got all these channels and all the stuff that we're working in. This is the messaging for this month. This is the messaging for this week. This is the message for that mom versus that mom versus that mom. You're creating this schedule, this plan of when we're going to write the stuff and deploy this stuff. And it's fun. Like doing that. If you like puzzles, if you like helping people, if you have the curiosity of, I want to know what the mom's thinking. I want to be in the blogs and really understanding, if that's who you are, content strategy is your game. Because that is, even piggybacking off Pam's, you could be saying, this is where your content is failing on your website. Let me fix that for you. Now I'm looking at your editorial strategy. Like what are you actually putting out there now? Let me also build you a content strategy and make sure that I've cleaned it all up. I've got people coming into your website now, but let's keep them here. Let's keep them engaged. Let's move them closer to the sale. That's where the content marketing strategy comes in. Just doing an editorial calendar, A, is super fun, B, super effective for the company, and C, you get paid a lot of money for doing it because this is the plan. This is the architect handing over the blueprint to all the other writers. Now, can you write? You can do the writing too, sure, but you don't have to. You could just. So that takes us to our fees. You could get $5,000 just for the strategy. Here's the strategy. Here's who we're talking to. Here's the plan. All right, you got this? Got your writers ready to go? I'm going to bounce and go do something else. Or I've got this other project. I'm now going to move on to what our next strategy is going to be that we're going to talk about next. Are you good? That's $5,000. Or I'm going to sit back and write with you. I'm going to join this team. I'm going to be the team. You can easily take on much more and continue to write and have a client for 25 years servicing the plan that you put together. The cool thing about all these opportunities is it gets you in the door at a very high level. Imagine having the architect building the house. Imagine him on the floor every day at your house. It's going to be better, right? I bet the architect, when they build their house is pretty awesome because they understand all the players, all the laborers. So you could be in there continuing to develop the strategy that you created. Strategy gets you in. Strategy elevates who you are, elevates your value. Out of day one, the client is like, oh, you're the strategist. You're worth a lot of money. Now I'm going to get you to write for me. Heck yeah, I want you to write for me. You're the highest paying writer I will pay because you're the strategist and you're doing the writing for me. That's amazing. That's what this whole opportunity looks like. And then you offer packages on a monthly retainer. You can set it up for a year. Retainers is a whole other session that we have for you. How to set them up, how to negotiate them, how to have these conversations. Our job here, again, is just to open your mind to the opportunities that are available to you as a strategist.
And I can give you a really concrete example. So this is a beautiful thing. I have a dog, and when I moved to a certain town in Florida, I had to find a vet. And I did, and I started talking to him and saying, I'm noticing you have a blog, but you only have 2 posts there, and they're a couple of years old. And he goes, oh yeah, nobody here has time to come up with topics. Nobody wants to write it. And I know we should do it, blah, 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 blah. And they were really generic too. They weren't even to the local community that he's trying to attract. So I said, well, how about this? I will come up with a plan for the year, 2 blog posts a month. Here are some topics based on seasonality with animals, like it's flea and tick season, or it's Halloween, or, just things that are common questions about owning a dog, just for example. And he was so happy, and just not only did I map out what they should be doing, I wrote everything. And then you don't have to do this, but I was happy to even put the copy into their back end or their WordPress platform. Real simple, but they didn't have time. They weren't going to do it. If I delivered the copy to them and they were going to get to it maybe at some point, I solved everything for them. And so it worked out beautifully because we could trade fees, not trade, but I was earning more than I was paying them for my dog care. And we were just locked in for a year, all good to go. I knew I was going to write something every month, no guessing or going, gee, what should we write about? No, I mapped it all out. And then I could go ahead and just run it by them. And they had minimal changes because they're not experts. I was, or I am. And it was just a really wonderful synergistic thing that lasted the whole year. And I knew I had steady income every month from it. They knew it was covered for them. So that's just one example. But you can do this again and again with a string of clients. Maybe 5 or 6 clients will have you fully covered 6 figures for a year doing this kind of approach. So anyway.
Awesome. I want to notice, Olivia had asked a question. What if we have all the education and certifications, but need the first job in a writing role first to be able to do consulting? If you've taken any certification through AWAI, that is part of our methodology. We never train you on anything without teaching you how to land clients. We have job boards. We have training up the wazoo on how to get clients. There's just so many ways to get clients. But if you go through any certification with us, note that that is part of the program. Is now that you have these skills, now that you're about to have the certification, what do you do with it? How do you use it to get clients? Who are the clients and how do you land them? We walk you through conversations, all of that. So if you're branding to AWAI, that is part of our methodology. We believe that if you just have a skill and no one's paying you for it, it's really more of a hobby. And if you're with AWAI, we're assuming that you want to make money. And so we put in the getting clients piece into every single conversation that we have. So know that if you take anything with us, even our most foundational program, it's always going to have a getting clients piece, because we know that that's a big, what feels like a mystery to a lot of people, but it is part of how we teach. So with content, just to wrap this up, we are super short on time all of a sudden.
Oh, okay. Cute. I was going to add one more comment to that. There is also, if you want to know right now, how do I get my first client, and you're not ready to take a program yet, inside AWAI has information on how to get your foot in the door with your first client, how to talk to clients, all that. So go there too.
Excellent. Jake, if you guys can post the Inside AWAI playbacks, there's tons in there, no matter what kind of personality type you are. If you are terrified of getting clients, we got to wait for you. That'll make you feel comfortable. So marketing strategy, we'll fly through these next two. This is basically what I touched on this a little bit before. The job of content is to attract prospects, generate leads, convert those leads to buyers, and then keep those buyers happy. It keeps you happy and satisfied writing for a very long time, because even once they buy, they need content to stay on with that company. So you'll basically you'll include a proposal to write the pieces. So you've got your strategy. If you want to stay on writing, you'll say, if you'd like me to execute the strategy, this is what it will look like. That's an additional fee. You can have ongoing management of their writers. You can manage the strategy itself. And you can even include reporting on results. So let's say part of my content, my editorial manager, her name is Nan Hughes. She's amazing. She works with me on the Writer's Life. She's constantly looking at the reports. What are the open rates? What are the click-through rates? How many people are commenting? You can even be involved in that part of the strategy. Now, that might feel a little bit like, well, it's getting out of the writing place, but it's so much fun when you realize this content piece outperformed those content pieces. This is what people want, and you lean in and get to get more people getting the information they're looking for. Again, you're like this rainmaker who's just bringing in the answers. It's an amazing situation to be in. If you want to know more about content marketing, though, we've got 2 other Inside AWAIs available, or 2 articles. These links will all be active. We'll post the playback afterward. You'll have access to these slides, and these links will be there. We also do have a certification on content. It's running right now, so it's not open. Our certifications do open and close because they are live. You have a live trainer the entire time. They take 4 weeks to get through. You take a test at the end, and then we close that door and open it for the future. But information is there should you want to prepare and get ready for that certification. All right, Pam, next up.
Next up is UX copywriting. UX equals user experience. And it's a broad category. And I think that the skill set of writing for UX, for the user experience, is fairly new. UX used to be just a design or technical thing, but Heather Robson, who's been kind of leading that as a writer for UX, is amazing and has been educating everybody on the need for copy to be part of this. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, you're not just writing copy for the different elements for a client. We've discussed, blog posts or emails or special reports you could write for a client, but you're not just writing those pieces in a vacuum or a silo. You're actually advising on ways to enrich the customer experience throughout that entire buying cycle that Rebecca mentioned. That entire, from awareness to trying something to buying something and then staying a happy customer. What is that experience all the way through that? It's not just the content, but the connections between the content and how quickly a company responds with their emails or their onboarding. All of that, if you can help fix that for clients, you will boost sales and satisfaction. People won't be confused. They won't leave or abandon the shopping cart. They'll stick around and be really clear and happy through the whole process. So it really elevates you because you're providing. It's beyond a website content audit. It's actually an experience on any brand touch point. So let's say somebody comes to AWAI, they come to our website, but then they want a free report. What happens when they click on the free report landing page to fill in their email? And then how are they treated after they do that? What email do they get? What does the message look like? And then what does the report look like that they ordered? So it's every touch point. What is that experience like? Is it clear or is it clunky? Is it stopping people or keeping them smoothly along the path? So you'll do an audit. You'll report on your findings of what that looks like for a user or a visitor prospect. And then you make recommended improvements, kind of like the site audit for the web content, but this is beyond that. This is the whole journey. Like I said, they come to the website, but what did it look like after they decided to sign up for a newsletter? What does that newsletter look like? What happens then? It's really thinking about each step in that journey. And then you as the UX copywriter can actually fix the journey, fix the content. What does the email look like? What does the report look like? And you can be an ongoing manager for them on that process and track results and improvements? Did the new emails get opened more often? Did people click through to what you wanted them to? Those kinds of things, you're going to watch that as a UX copywriter and help influence with better copy. The fees are amazing in UX copywriting. And actually, if you really dive into this, you'll be at the forefront. There aren't a lot of UX copywriters out there. You'll see jobs for UX designers, UX programmers, but not so much copy right at this point. But companies are getting wise to the fact that UX encompasses the wording. So the fees, let's see, Heather Robson gave me these fee ranges for different roles in UX. If you just do an e-commerce audit, like how that shopping cart, that buying experience works, you could charge $1,000 to $2,000 just for auditing the buying process for a customer and see where some stumbling blocks might be. If you want to do a mobile audit, what's the experience on somebody's phone if they're dealing with a client through that sequence? $2,000 to $3,000 for that. Email sign-up audits. What do those emails look like? Are they clunky, confusing? Are the links buried, or are they just boring? Are they generic? You can do audit emails at $250 to $750 for that. And then upwards of $10,000 for a complete website audit that follows that entire customer journey, like I said. What does the website say? How does it guide a person to being involved with the company, like signing up for an e-newsletter? Then what does the e-newsletter look like? What do the clicks in the e-newsletter lead to? It goes on and on and on, which is amazing. So you can make some pretty great money as a UX copywriter. They're actually, once you know what to do, they're very easy. And a lot of companies are too immersed in their world to put their head up and look at what the user is experiencing. Sometimes it's like, wow, I didn't even realize we were kind of ordering them to submit something, which is a lot less friendly than, get your free trial. So you're objectively looking at it through the eyes of the user, uncovering things that the clients can't even see because they're too much in the weeds. And then you determine how the messages are actually hurting the client or helping. So all the small changes that you're going to remark on and notice and report on can make huge results for the client, a huge difference, which is why it's such a valuable role now. We have a lot of resources on UX. We have some articles here that you can click on and check out. Heather Robson is our expert, our resident expert on this. And then she also has a copywriting mastery and certification program like our others, where you really dig in depth and become this superhero for clients, armed with tools that help you do the job really well. So that's UX. And finally, our last of the 4 biggie consulting opportunities is social media management, which I'm not that involved in. So I'm going to let Rebecca take over that role.
Well, you guys are on social media right now, so you can get paid very well to be doing this for other clients. Pam, if you'll mute your mic, I think we're getting the feedback on my end just for a second. Thank you. So how this elevates you, you're not, I love this word, just writing social media posts, you're mapping out a strategy. This is our team member, her name is Jen Honorati. She built out a strategy for us. She came in and said, y'all are on social media, but are you actually doing anything with your social media? What are you using it for? And that's what the strategist comes in and says. You're mapping out the strategy. Social media has a very clear intention. This is where the company's prospects are hanging out. More people now are searching in social media for answers to their questions, for products. They're making buying decisions in these little worlds than ever before. This is a huge opportunity to find new prospects for your clients, to again, turn them into buyers, and to service current customers, a big opportunity with social media. So it's building trust, it's engaging people and bringing in more business. It is not a throwaway channel. It is not a, oh, I know, like Pam talked about the veterinarian, I know we're supposed to do a blog, but nobody wants to write it. This is me. I know we're supposed to be on social media, but I don't have any time to do social media. Like that's where the strategist comes in and makes it easier for everybody to take advantage, because anytime a company says, I don't have time for that channel, or I want to, but I just can't get to it, they're basically leaving money on the table, because they have people in that channel who are like, hey, I'm looking for a solution. Anybody have a solution? Every time they say, I'm not going to be in that marketing channel, they're basically saying no to the income, to the revenue from that stream. So this is why you are so valuable as a writer. So what you provide as a social media manager, you provide brand awareness, right? That's one of the things that you can do. What is our brand? Who are we trying to reach? When people see the brand, hear the brand, feel the brand, what is it that we're trying to convey? Acquisition. Let's bring new people into our company. Let's make them aware of our brand, make them aware of our solutions. Strategies that build and trust and foster community among your audiences. Part of social media is building up audiences. You might be part of multiple groups within AWAI. How do we actually engage those groups then? Are we servicing them, or did we just put them in a room in an audience and be like, well, look at the audience that we have? Well, good, you have a big audience, but what are you doing with it? Are you helping them? Are you providing solutions for them and having conversations and building up trust and engagement? That's part of it. And then engaging, inspiring, entertaining. You can focus on community management. Melissa Everett is our community manager. She's amazing at being in there and making sure that connections are being made and that somebody isn't sitting in the corner wishing that their question could get answered. She's in there making sure that everybody is cared for like a great host of a great party, right? That is a strategy in and of itself and a role that you can either train up or service. And then creating assets. That's another thing. You can create asset coordination, assets being like the things, the graphics, the videos. You could coordinate that stuff with other freelancers. So as Pam was saying, how great it could be to latch on to a technical person as the writer, latching on to designers and video producers and things like that. You guys can create a little world, a little agency of your own where you're all handing off and crossing over and recommending each other and using each other to service the clients all at the same time. Social media is such a cool beast. It can be so much bigger than what most companies think. So if you love this, if you love this world, if you love the idea of interacting through social media or helping groups of people or making sure that one person isn't getting left out, this is your jam. This is definitely a great opportunity for you. So on the money side of things, great fees. You can get paid by the hour for management. You can get paid by the hour, like I'm going to work 10 hours a week on your social media. You can be on retainer, so $2,000 a month to manage, up to $10,000, depending on how much you're managing, how many accounts. You can be including the strategic planning and just hand that off. You could actually be in on the posting. You could be in on the moderating like Melissa does. You can be writing the ads. Just like site audits at the beginning and content, you're creating opportunity for yourself. So you can just do the strategy, you can do strategy and management, execution of strategy, or you can do strategy, execution, and actually writing of the stuff and managing the individual pieces. It's one of these things that you just get your foot in the door with strategy, and then you decide how much time do you want to spend on this thing and how big do you want to make the opportunity for yourself. That's the coolest thing about all of these is that they expand to fit what it is you want in this opportunity. So as far as the actual doing, if you're already you're already doing social media anyways, you're here right now, why not turn it into client-focused work? Go ahead. What are the groups that you're following? This is my favorite way. Somebody was asking about getting clients. What companies are you already engaging with? Who are you as a buyer? What do you already know to be true or know about? What are you interested in? That might be your first client. All of our social media moderators, with the exception of Melissa, who came through our member success team, they have all been picked out of our social groups. You want to know a great way to get noticed by a client? Be active in their social groups. If you want to be in social media, be the best darn social media participant they've ever seen in their entire life. Be helpful, answering questions. Content, same thing, like answering comments on the blogs, being part of the community, because when you then email them and say, hi, my name is Rebecca Matter and I am interested in managing your social media, they're like, oh yeah, we know who you are. And I'm looking at those of you who you know who are working for us. That's how we found Steve Maurer. He runs our LinkedIn group. He was an amazing participant. When we needed a moderator, who did we go to? The amazing participant, right? Tim Geiger, Ingrid, EG, like so many AWAI members who are in our world. When we need people, Rachel Kraft, who runs Barefoot Writer, we're pulling people. Robert Rice was very active. We just pull them into our world. So just get active, be in there, and think about the groups that you're already active in anyways, and consider reaching out to them to help them improve social media. Study what other people are doing. your competitors are doing this. Even in other industries, they're doing this cool thing that you're not doing. It's a great way of getting in with potential clients. You can get on to tracking. Jen Honorati on our team, we will be opening a certification on this eventually, but she's really built out a great feedback loop for us of, we're spending all this time, we're doing all this stuff. What does it mean? What does it translate into results? You can be reporting that. You can be the face and the voice of the company, actually being the face, or you could be creating the face. You're the voice behind the face, the Cyrano de Bergerac, if you will, putting all the wonderful words into the person who you are helping reach their audience. And like everything else in this entire presentation, you set yourself up for so many projects, because who better to write the blogs, the content, the video, the sales letters, the emails, than the person who talks to the prospects and customers on a regular basis through social media. You know their problems, you know their questions, you know the language that they use. You have all the intel. If I started over tomorrow as a writer, social media would be a great way to get set up for a lot of great stuff, because number one copywriting principle is knowing and caring about your prospect. You know, a great way to know and care about your prospect, talk to your prospect. Where do you talk to them? Social media, right? You're in there. They're telling you exactly what they want. So you turn around to the client and say, hey, do I have some great articles to write for you, right? You're right there in there. So it's an amazing opportunity. We have a program on it that does teach you how to do the mechanics. It's by Nick Usborne, who is fantastic, great teacher. But this will get you up and running as a social media expert, and then certification to be coming soon. All right, Pam, back over to you for closing it out. And you are on mute. Yes.
Okay, Jake is my unmuter because I'm doing the slides. All right, so we wanted to close with some tips for locking in those lasting relationships that we're talking about. First of all, assume clients need help. Like I said with our veterinarian and my accountant, and Rebecca's mentioned other kinds of companies, they don't have time. They're overwhelmed. Not only are they doing their daily jobs and business to run the company, they are supposed to be also on top of all these different marketing channels every day. I mean, it's enough to drive everyone crazy, and it does. They're overwhelmed. So when you are thinking about how many buyers are online more than ever than before, and how the competition for attention is really high, and how a lot of companies struggle to get results. That's one of the top frustrations, is they're spending all this money on ads and copy and website stuff, but they're not getting the results they are looking for. And that's because they don't know how to write that stuff. They don't have a staff to write. They can't find qualified resources. That's where we come in, right? That's where you come in. So if you can really just keep your mind on the fact that you're not going out there going, please hire me, I could really help you. No, clients need you. They are desperate. They don't even know how to start doing all this stuff. So just keep that in mind. And then like, just to prove my point here, this was a survey I found just the other day on Marketing Insider Group. What are your team's top content marketing challenges? Creating content that generates leads. They don't know how to do that. Creating content that attracts more traffic. Gosh, they don't know how to do that. Developing content that resonates with our target audience. Clearly, they don't know how to do that. Improving the search engine performance of our content. Finding ideas for creating new content. Proving the return on investment for our content. Are you seeing a trend here? This is all stuff you can do. You can step in and go, I can help you create content that generates leads. I know how to create content that attracts traffic. So this list alone is kind of your offering. Put this on your website. I know how to take care of every one of these problems for you. So I just love that slide. I was like, oh, this is the perfect graphic to prove your worth. All right. So the other thing too is you want to research the company's audience. So I'm talking to my accountant. Who's their audience? Anybody in the Portland, Maine area who needs an accountant, right? Small businesses mainly, because the highfalutin big firms are handling the corporate clients. But so think, who's their audience? You know, what are they looking for? What are they hoping to solve or find? How are they looking for a solution? Are they in social media? Are they on their phones? Where are they looking? How do they know or believe? Sorry, what do they know or believe to be true about that category? So, for example, for my accountant, I'll keep using them, but they're a rare breed where they're a really small firm and they're very much into relationships with their clients and helping small businesses thrive. They're not just, okay, we'll get your tax return done next. They're not like that at all. They're very relationship focused, which is why I've been with them for 25 years. So they're kind of overcoming the concept on their website that most accounting firms they don't really care about your business or your personal needs. They're just sort of doing the job. Not these guys. So that's something that's fun to think about for clients. Like, how can you project yourself really meeting the client or the customer where they are? What does the company offer that's a fit, and be super clear about that? And then where can they connect? So just keep in mind, when you're helping customers or clients, this is what they need to do. They need to convey this to their clients. Sorry, mixing words here. They need to convey this to their prospects and customers, that they're there for them. And so many websites, so many clients do not do that very clearly. That's why they need you. Okay, be their superhero. With your objective, strategic consultant hat on, as an outsider, you're not one of their staff, you can bring the client fresh ideas, show the client what the competition is doing, which may be a super eye-opener for them. Show the client how to stand apart, create a cohesive plan, double treat. You're not only guiding, but you're actually the writer. And then invest in their wins. When you're a consultant, you're demonstrating that you're invested in their improvement and their growth and all of that stuff. You're not just saying, I'll write 2 blog posts. You'll be like, no, let's map out a plan that's really going to move the needle for you this year. Let's be amazing. I can help you do that. So that's up to the hour. We've covered pretty much everything that we can think of about ways to become a consultant that earns more, has a higher value for the client, and becomes a superhero that could last for years. So with that, we're opening up the floor for questions. Jake, I'm going to stop sharing my slides so we can post questions if we need to. Actually, you did that for me.
He's so good.
He is good. He's great. Okay. Questions.
We've had some while we're waiting for anyone else to post their questions. SI had asked about, if you're writing a sales letter or blog post, you need to use researched facts. How do you reference where you've got your information in the copy? Pam had a great suggestion. Whenever you can provide proof and credibility in a sales letter or in a blog post or anything that you're writing, according to global consulting management company, McKinsey, it's like this. That actually makes the proof piece that much more believable and strong, simply because you're taking the ownness of the proof off of yourself or off of the writer and putting it onto this other company or this other person or this doctor or this group or whatever, the survey that you read. It actually gives the proof more weight anyways. But if you make any kind of claim, and sometimes you don't want to do it because it just makes your copy weighed down, like so-and-so says this and so-and-so said that, and then so-and-so over here, that can get kind of bogged down, and you just want to kind of fire off some proof. If you're not going to name the source and you can't find it easily because of that, you want to just put a comment. So just add a comment in your Word document and just put the link of where you got what your source is. And that way your client doesn't have to come back to you and say, this seems unbelievable. Where did you find this thing? Or we can't just say stuff. We can't just make it up. You want to put your sources in. So if you don't list it in the copy, just include a comment with the link in the sidebar. Good question.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're happy to answer questions on anything. If there aren't any, that's good too, but maybe we covered it in such detail. But if you guys have any questions on making a living as a writer, getting clients, anything like that, we're happy to answer anything. We've been doing this a very long time. And it's very rare that you might ask a question that we can't answer.
Right. One thing I just want to mention, if you're new to this, and this is the first time you've been on one of our Inside AWAI sessions, we have a whole page on awai.com that has over 50, I think now at this point, different topics that we've covered in this format. Everything from how do I create my first samples, how do I get my foot in the door with a new client, to what the opportunities are in different areas like business to business or web writing. Lots of things about working with clients, what clients want, how to market yourself. There's a whole session on LinkedIn alone. So I really encourage you to go check out all that free stuff there that goes way into detail on freelance writing success like nobody else does, because we want you to succeed. So we're here every month doing this for you.
And if there's ever anything that comes up that you want to know about that we haven't covered, there was somebody who really wanted to know about working for agencies. So we did a session working on agencies. We've done them on like retainers and getting clients and working at trade shows. And if there's an angle, an opportunity, a way to make a living as a writer, a question that you have that we're not covering, we can put together a presentation to cover it for you. So just email me. You can message me through Facebook or email me at askrebecca@awai.com. And we have our editorial calendar for Inside AWAI that meets our content strategy for AWAI that's mapped out for the year. So we're happy to jump on. And honestly, even if it's a smaller thing where it doesn't warrant a big session, we can jump on a Facebook Live for 10 minutes and just tackle that content. We don't ever want our goal. We know how big the opportunity is and we know all the steps that it takes. And we're, depending on where you are, we can help you get there. What we don't want is for anything to ever stand in your way. We never want you to hit a wall and go, oh, I don't know the answer to that. And then you stop that momentum, because once momentum starts, if you want this, if you've decided you want this and you want to start going, I don't want anything in your way. I want to just be in front of you, clearing out anything that could possibly slow you down. So definitely reach out to us and let us help you. That's what we do. All right, Pam, what if a client needs something I could learn from a certification program, but that program isn't open at the time?
Well, we have other resources for you. In most cases, if you go on our website and Google a topic, you will search a topic, I should say. You'll find everything we have on that topic. So you'll find articles, you may find an Inside AWAI, you may find a program that isn't a certification level, but it's a self-study that's available to you. There are, like, for example, we have a blogging program. So we have a content mastery program. We have a SEO program. These are off-the-shelf, self-study, ready for you anytime. And then say again?
Off the shelf. They're all digital nowadays.
Well,
such a fashion.
But I mean, you can just grab it anytime.
Yes. No, I was joking. Yeah, for sure.
And then, when the certification opens up, of course, we'd let you know. But in the meantime, there's plenty that you can offer from our self-study programs that would help clients in a huge way.
Yep, we have a huge catalog of training programs. If there is a way to make a living as a writer, there's a really good chance that we have the definitive product or program on that skill set. So just say yes and just buy yourself like 4 or 6 weeks. Say, yes, I can do that. I have time on my schedule next month. No client expects you to turn around by tomorrow. So don't worry about that. And then you just call member services at AWAI's. What do I do? I need to learn how to write a case study. They want me to do their social media campaign. What's the program? They will talk you through it. Our member success teams are amazing. They know all of our programs inside and out. They can tell you exactly which one to take based on your situation. All you have to do is say yes to the client. And then all of our self-study programs, with the exception of the bigger foundational stuff of learning how to write persuasively, how to write copy, learning campaign structures, things like that, the project-based programs like how to write a case study, how to write a white paper, how to write email, how to do social media, it's very project specific. Just follow through and it helps you learn how to do the project. All of our programs have hands-on exercises. All of our programs have projects that you write based on what we call scope, just like as though you were working for a client. So instead of using our scope, you'll just use your client's scope. And scope is just the definition of what I'm looking for. So the scope of, let's say, a newsletter might be, I'm looking for 1,200 to 1,500 words on this topic about this thing, servicing this audience, written like this. That's the scope of the project. All of our programs give you a practice scope. So if you don't have a client, that's okay. We are your client then, and we give you the scope of our projects. So you will feel confident. You can easily go through, let's say, our case study program in a couple of weeks and be able to turn out a professional case study by the time that you finish, hand it into your client and take the paycheck. Now, are you going to get better over time? Yes. The longer you do it, the more case studies you write, the more emails you write, the more articles or newsletters or social media or blogs or whatever it is that you do, you're going to get better. The job here, though, is not to get worried about perfectionism. You're never going to be perfect. And like what I said at the beginning, copy and content can always be made better. And that's probably one of the coolest things that we never really talk about. one of the things that you can do to take all the pressure off yourself is go through our programs, especially the AWAI method, which is our foundation program. Go through that and understand what makes good copy good, what makes effective copy effective, and then just improve other people's stuff. You don't even have to do any creative, brand new idea writing. You can just go and make their social media better. You can just go and make their blogs better. It's such a great way of showing your value. I mean, even more value sometimes than actually doing the writing. It's way easier. And you become this like consultative marketing genius who can just make stuff better. So it's another great way around this. All right, guys, last call for questions. Anything else? Going once.
Looks like we're good, huh?
Going twice. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back next month. We've got a new topic that we're cooking up that's super exciting. We'll be back and advertising that very soon. But again, if you need anything, holler, reach out to our social media groups, reach out to our moderators, reach out to me directly. We want to help you. If there's anything that we can do to help you move forward in this amazing world of well-paid writing that is just growing so fast and aggressively now, you picked the right time to be a writer, and we want to help you take advantage. So just let us know, and we'll be there to help. All right, Pam, thank you so much.
Thanks for being here, you guys. Take care.
Bye, guys.